So, what are we making today?
Alright, so today we are going to make our world famous original pralines. Pralines is kind of what this company has been built upon, and we make our original praline recipe every day. We start at about 7:30 in the morning and go pretty close to about 10:30 at night is when our last batch will come out. So today we're going to go ahead and show you exactly how that process goes. Our first ingredient is going to be 7.5 pounds of white confectionery sugar. Dump that in just like that. A full half gallon of half and half. And that just goes directly on top of the sugar. You can also cut this recipe in half, and you would just be taking everything that I'm putting in here and just cutting it directly in half. And then we'll go ahead and turn this on. Cut the heat on high. Now this is a water kettle, so what this does, there's water all throughout this, so it heats it very, very evenly. You can also do this process by heating it just directly from the bottom. It just doesn't mix it quite as well. You need to be a little more diligent about stirring it. And then our last ingredient is going to be half a pound of butter. Again, if you're doing half a batch, you can just use a 1/4 pound stick. But this is a half a pound. This is lightly salted butter. You just dump that right in there.
So how many pralines does a batch like that make?
Our typical batch like this is going to make anywhere between 85 and 95 pralines, just depending on your size. We try to be as consistent as we can with our size. We want to get about 8 pralines per pound, so that does give us at least a general idea of what size to make. And if you're doing that, you're going to get about 90 of them in one batch.
Okay. So is that a whole batch on the counter there?
Yes, this is a batch that I just made. We dipped that out. It's going to take it probably about 5 minutes or so to cool off. We use our marble countertop, and that just helps the pralines to cool off. It's not essential to the process, but if you're using aluminum sheet pans, it would just take it longer. The marble is porous, so it helps absorb the heat of the pralines, and they're going to cool down a lot faster for us to be able to sample them.
Cool. All right. Can I look in the pot?
Absolutely, please. So you can see in there, this is all we're doing here. This baffle here just is constantly stirring it. There are teeth on the bottom of the baffle that it's kind of whisking all those ingredients together. So the sugar and the cream are going to mix together. The butter's going to melt itself down, and eventually you're going to see as the heat increases, it's going to rise. The product anytime you're using cream, the rising process is essentially just the water that's in the ingredient. It's boiling it out, and so it's going to thicken the process. It's going to thicken the product, and it takes typically about anywhere between 21 and 24 minutes for a batch of pralines to make, and at its peak temperature, it's going to get up to about 260 degrees.
And how long does that take?
It takes about 21 to 24 minutes, depending. I mean, there are some, with these water kettle pots, some of them are calibrated a little bit differently. So the hotter the kettle is, the quicker that's going to cook. But your temperature, based on the density of the mix in there, it's never going to get above 260 degrees. That's about as hot as I've ever seen them.
So can you use other nuts in them other than pecans?
You can. We have made pralines in the past with peanuts, with cashews, with almonds. Our original recipe does call for pecans, and the reason that is when the praline recipe came over to the United States during the Revolutionary period, it started in New Orleans, which was a French colony. And in France, they actually used almonds as the original praline recipe, but pecans were so common in this area, we kind of adopted the recipe there, and it kind of just went from there. And so pecan is the traditional nut that goes into a praline here in the United States, but you can certainly use other nuts if you would like.
And what's your favorite?
My favorite's the world famous original praline. So that's the cream that we put in there, the sugar, and the pecans. That, to me, it's the best. It's the most savory. It's the most popular, and it's downright awesome.
So I've heard that people use brown sugar to get it that nice brown color, but you use white sugar.
Yeah, we use white sugar. The color is going to come from just it mixing together with the cream, and when it gets to that peak temperature, it's going to start to caramelize a little bit. I mean, you've seen that in other baking items. They're going to darken from their original ingredients, and that's all it is just the heating process and the mixing of all the ingredients together gives it that nice brown color. Brown sugar is a lot more dense, and it's going to probably cause the product to be a little too sweet.
Okay.
10 minutes later.
Okay, so this is Ashley, and we're putting pecans in. How many pecans are you putting in?
12 cups.
12 cups.
It's nice and thick.
That
I'm gonna
changes
turn
quick.
off the heat.
So what happens if they keep cooking?
They're gonna get a little too thick. You just add a teeny bit of water and stir it up a little bit so we don't change the texture, the flavor, and integrity. Which looks like we're gonna add a tidbit of water.
How hot is that?
We cook at about 300 degrees. Now, while most of our candies are homemade, we try and scoop pretty consistent so that they're all the same size.
So what keeps it from sticking to the marble?
We use butter.
So how many pralines do you think you've made in your lifetime?
Too many to count. And when it gets a little thick, we're going to stir it up.
How many batches do you make in a day?
Average day about 20. During the high season, it could go up to 50, just depending. Saturdays are pretty busy around here in March.
And what's your favorite flavor?
Chocolate.
Chocolate pralines?
Chocolate pralines, I love them when they're hot.
So what makes them chocolate versus regular?
We add a semi-sweet dark chocolate into the batter while it's cooking. It's almost like a dry, decadent, old school fudge.
And they have pecans in them still?
Yeah. I'm gonna add a little more water.
All right, thank you, Ashley.
My pleasure. Have a sweet day.